Can Texas secede from the Union? America's second biggest, second most populated state is always first to remind you that it was once its own country, the Republic of Texas. Now, California had its little moment. 3 weeks of independence that was basically an accident, plus a flag that looks like it was designed by a kindergartner having a bad day. But Texas? Texas was the real deal. A legit country with its own presidents, laws, and currency for a whole decade, 1836 to 1846, before it joined the Union as the 28th state. And thank God it did, because that finally evened out the number of stars on the flag. The rocky marriage. So this happy marriage happened, right? And immediately, like not even a honeymoon period, it led straight into the Mexican-American War. The burning question? How big is Texas exactly? America won, obviously. And as the victor, America got to decide the answer: very damn big. The divorce attempt. Now, Texas gave up total independence to join the Union, sure, but it never gave up that independent streak, that don't tread on me attitude. So just 15 years later, Texas filed for divorce, along with a few other states, obviously. This little domestic dispute wasn't settled with couples therapy or flowers. Nope, it was settled with force. And yeah, some folks are still grumbly about it today. The big question. But history aside, could Texas actually be a real country in modern times? In other words, could Texas succeed if it secedes? Let's break it down. The population and economy check. Population-wise, an independent Texas would be the world's 46th largest country with 26 million people. Not too shabby. And those 26 million Texans would make Texas the 13th largest economy on Earth. So basically, the new Texas Republic would be comparable to Australia, except, way smaller geography-wise, but still solid stats. The money talk. But hold up. What about all that sweet federal money flowing into Texas? Those interstate highways don't just magically appear, right? Here's the thing. For most states, independence would be a financial disaster. Take Mississippi, for example. Mississippi gets $2 from Washington for every $1 it sends in taxes. So an independent Magnolia Republic? Yeah, that'd be bankrupt faster than you can say fiscal crisis. But Texas? Texas is different. Texas actually gives more money to the federal government than it gets back. So there's zero reason why independent Texas couldn't keep those highways smooth and throw its citizens a little happy Texapendence Day tax cut while they're at it. From a financial perspective, the new Texas Republic gets a big old check mark. The legal reality check. All right, so the money works. Cool. Now the real question. Can Texas legally secede? And the answer is no, not at all. Not even a little bit. Despite what a lot of people believe, including some politicians who really should know better, the Texas Constitution does not include a get-out-of-the-union-free card. I know. Disappointing. However, and this is weird, the Texas Constitution does have this random clause that lets it split itself into 5 separate states without Congress's approval. So, theoretically, Texas could just explode into like North Texas, South Texas, East Texas, West Texas, and Austin, which would quintuple its power in the Senate. Big brain move, right? Except that still wouldn't help it gain independence because, and here's the kicker, there is no legal process for a state to bail on the Union. None. Zilch. Nada. The Supreme Court says no. Now, the Constitution itself is totally silent on this whole secession thing, but it has come before the Supreme Court, and, shockingly, the Supreme Court of the United States decided that states can't leave the United States. Wild, right? But here's where it gets interesting. The legal question is kind of moot. Why? Because the first Texas Republic didn't just politely ask Mexico, "Hey, can we leave?" Texas was originally a state of Mexico, and Mexico absolutely did not allow Texas to leave. But Texas left anyway, under, shall we say, less than harmonious circumstances. The military reality. Now, it's hard to imagine an actual war between the new Texas Republic and the United States, but it's not hard to imagine who'd win that fight. Sure, Texas has its own military, the Texas State Guard, Texas National Guard, all that. But let's be real. Nobody beats America in the war business. Nobody. So the only way Texas is actually leaving is if it can convince the United States to change its laws and let it bounce, which would only happen if it became a serious political discussion, which would only happen if a majority of Texans actually wanted independence, which is not remotely the case right now. The reality check closing. So yeah, while a new Texas Republic is fun to think about, especially for some non-Texans who'd love to see Texas go A's of right now, it's a long, long way from becoming reality. Texas staying in the Union? That's the safe bet. But hey, never say never in American politics.